He was a pop culture sensation of the 1970s, the bandit who stole countless hearts and set the bar for strength and charisma. But what did Burt Reynolds symbolize to those who called him family? And why was his only son left out of his will? Was this done deliberately to hurt or to help him? I'm your host, Nostalgic Nick, with these answers and more.
Hello there, Smokey.
Including some unexpected revelations about the relationship between him and Sally Field. So please, if you enjoy our video, give it a big thumbs up, it really helps. And make sure you're subscribed to our channel so you never miss a new deep dive. But now, without further ado, let's drive this forkin' thing off. What happened between Burt Reynolds and Lonnie Anderson? Burt's love life was just as eventful as his career, albeit for a very different reason. He was briefly married to English actress Judy Carne. He described her like a force of nature, dancing on tabletops, laughing at the top of her voice. But the pair would split up in 1965, and it would be decades before Reynolds had even a bit of interest in dating again. He outright said, quote, "I lost all interest in women. I just couldn't go out with anyone. She broke my heart. She really did."
You're too expensive to be useless.
Next, among others, was Sally Field, who Reynolds would call the love of his life. But according to Field, she was anything but. She was just something he wanted to have. Her own memoir calls him controlling and hurtful as he abused drugs like Valium and barbiturates. She summed it up saying, quote, "He was just not good for me in any way." And they split up just a few years in. Finally, along came Lonnie Anderson, crossing paths on the set of The Merv Griffin Show. For a while, they were the quintessential Hollywood power couple, and both called their marriage like something out of a fairy tale. Burt called Lonnie his best friend, and Lonnie likened him to Prince Charming.
So he called me Snow White, and it made me feel so wonderful. I started collecting Snow White memorabilia.
Then they completed the family unit by adopting a son. But then their personal quirks became deal-breaking flaws. Burt said Lonnie rinsed through money at breakneck speed, claiming, quote, "I gave her a platinum American Express card with a $45,000 credit limit. She maxed it out in half an hour." This makes sense, coming from the woman who said she could never wear a dress again once she'd been photographed in it.
Well, just send me the bill, Foxy lady.
And through it all, Reynolds was kicking up trouble, falling in love with a cocktail waitress. He suspected Lonnie wasn't always faithful too, and so he outright admitted to cheating and blamed the lack of intimate contact between the couple for their split. Their divorce became as infamously nasty as their marriage had been idolized, and Lonnie kept her reply short, saying she had to think first and foremost about her son. But this explosive split wasn't the last of the dramatic relationship fallouts Burt would leave behind. Did Burt Reynolds name his son after his character on Gunsmoke? If you're a fan of Gunsmoke, you probably caught Reynolds as Quinn Aspen, a role he won over 300 other contenders. Burt knew he had a break of a lifetime, so he named his dog Festus after the dutiful Festus Hagen. But the tributes don't end there. His own son bears the name Quentin after his character from Gunsmoke 2. Records show Quentin was born in the summer of '88, and he was adopted by Burt and Lonnie shortly after. Even though his parents split, he took after them and pursued the arts in college. Except his area of expertise would be behind the camera as an imaging technician, an editor, a camera operator, and a post-production assistant. There's some discrepancy concerning which films and shows he worked on, but IMDb has him as a cameraman for a bit of everything, from NCIS to A Christmas in Vermont. Although his parents gave him the showbiz bug, there was something he definitely did not get from Dad: a place in his will. But there's a bit more to that decision than meets the eye. Did Burt Reynolds and his son get along? Quentin's family tree is a bit different looking, and that's because of the messy nature of his parents' divorce. After Lonnie split from Burt, she married a folk singer named Bob Flick, and Flick is actually listed as Quentin's dad. Immediately after the divorce, father and son were pretty much estranged. Part of that comes from the lingering tension between the exes. If you asked Burt, he'd have a very it-is-what-it-is attitude.
Joe, yeah. You listen to me. Listen to me.
The way he sees it, all of his experiences made him who he is. He says, quote, "I don't think of my past as anything negative, and if it is negative, I've forgotten it." It was part of his philosophy of living without regrets. He has said, quote, "There's nothing I can do about things that weren't happy or good. I just try not to dwell on those. Regrets are not healthy. It's best to try and let go of those things that can't be changed." And the past can't be changed, but the future saw the dust finally settle after that nasty divorce. And when it did, the air was clear for father and son to bond again. But was it too little, too late? What was Burt Reynolds' cause of death? It surprises no one that since Reynolds' career kicked off in the 1950s, he kept working ever since, no matter the beating he took.
Absolutely not. You're gonna get killed out here.
They've been trying that for years. Don't worry, I got the perfect play.
And he did tons of films and TV, but ultimately he died a film actor's death. And it's Quentin Tarantino who can give us the closest look at his final moments. You see, Burt had actually been recruited for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and he was working on the set not long before his final bow. Although they did not get to film any scenes, Tarantino revealed, quote, "I got a chance to rehearse with him. I'm officially the last role he played because he came to the script reading." So that was his last acting. The final night on Earth, Burt Reynolds was running lines with an assistant. As Tarantino recalls it, quote, "He was so happy. I can honestly say he died happy. I am not saying he died happy because of me, but he was definitely happy when he passed on." On the morning of September 6, 2018, Burt Reynolds left us forever. He was 82 years old when he wrapped up running lines, walked through his home, and suffered a fatal heart attack. Even after Burt was gone, there was a very serious matter that needed settling, one that was decades in the making. Who did Burt Reynolds leave his money to when he died? Burt's death was a shock despite his age, but he did have his affairs in order, which involved a huge financial turnaround. Since at one point, Reynolds actually claimed he was broke. After some horrible financial blunders, lost him $13 million.
Came in with 10,000. I lost 10,000. It's no big deal.
So what the heck about his son? Because Burt's will very explicitly leaves Quentin out. Burt's wording in this very official document was blatant, reading, quote, "I intentionally omit him from this, my last will and testament." But wait, he didn't leave his son out in the cold completely, as Burt set his son up with a trust. So the trust was covering Quentin financially, negating the need for financial inheritance. So why did he do it like this? Well, it's theorized it's a residual choice from their temporary estrangement in the 1990s. But it also acts as a protection. You see, estates are taxed. If someone has an especially sprawling estate, the first $5.6 million of that is not taxable, but after that, it's time to play a costly numbers game. But those assets left in a trust, those aren't part of the taxable estate, and no money is lost. Now, Burt's estate was estimated at $5 million, so if there was a tax, it would have been small. Everything about Burt Reynolds was big, from his unbeaten acting career to his tough guy lifestyle. To his chaotic family life. He's been a warning and an inspiration, and someone whose story we'll be retelling for a very long time. So that's all for me now. This is where we open the floor to you. What is your favorite film or TV appearance by Reynolds? Did you already know any of this about Burt Reynolds? And who is another complicated and talented actor or actress that we should cover next? Get in the comments and tell us all things Burt Reynolds. If you enjoyed the video as much as we enjoyed making it, please give it a thumbs up to help it circulate. Subscribe to our channel so you never miss a great throwback. And from all of us here at Do You Remember, we want to thank you very much for watching.